Bocchi the Rock is one of my favourite shows, because I mean, what's not to love? It's got some kick-ass music, awesome characters, great comedy, and a good story. But hidden amongst all the peak, there's something sinister brewing in the background, which would escape the typical viewer's eye. But luckily, I'm not a typical viewer. I see things normal people don't, like human trafficking operations, like the one Nijik is a part of. Because isn't it fishy how she runs into Bocchi in a public playground and then decides to recruit her for a band? On the surface layer, it seemed just like a wholesome coincidence. But once you start to ask questions like, what was Nijika doing in a playground in the first place? Was she checking if there was any kids to abduct and sell on the black market to the Japanese Jeffrey Epstein when she found Bocchi? Or was she already watching Bocchi beforehand and was just waiting for the opportune moment to strike? So far, you might think I'm a crackhead, but this theory has genuine legs. Because there's proof when Nishika first makes contact with Bocchi, she's seen being surrounded by a fence in a playground. This fence is a symbol for her being a farm animal like a cow or a sheep. And as you may have noticed, in this scene, Nishika's wearing gumboots, which are shoes often worn by farmers, showing the dynamic between them as a farmer and farm animal dynamic. Not to mention, Nishika jumping over the fence shows that while Bocchi is trapped by social and physical boundaries in this setting, Nishika is not, which proves my earlier power dynamic point. Anyways, because we're talking about symbolism, the motif of the zip tie appearing throughout the show on the shirts of the main characters, and also a zip tie being the inspiration behind the name Keskyo Band, is quite a strange creative decision when you think about it. Because you know how zip ties are used to restrain victims of human trafficking? That's like O-levels foreshadowing. And so far, if you have any lingering doubts, like how did Nijika know where Bocchi was, I'll tell you how. Because you know how Kida and Ryo are in on this human trafficking ring too. Ryo just beats Ryo, and Kida is a scout. Because you know how Bocchi and Kida go to the same school? So even before they met, Kida was secretly keeping tabs on Bocchi because she was trying to find the next human trafficking target. Because the best people to traffic are those without any friends, because who's going to notice them when they're missing? And unfortunately, Bocchi fits into this criteria. And as the show goes along, Bocchi is slowly being manipulated to trust Keskyo Band and the Starry, before the worst will eventually happen. Now, speaking of the Starry, while I did a break-even analysis on the Starry, and it turned out that based off the numbers I was getting for the Bocchi wiki, they should be able to break even and make a small profit, it's never explicitly stated how Saika was able to secure funding for the Starry and pay all the establishment costs, especially given how she's pretty young and a former musician, which doesn't really pay the amount it should be to be an entrepreneur at the age of 29 or 30. And running a small to medium enterprise is a lot harder than it seems, which makes me think that there was some foul play done by Seika in order to secure funding. I think that the human trafficking incident at Bocchi the Rock started with Seika and Nijika's mother, who allegedly died in an accident, which is far from the truth. Because I reckon Seika killed her, harvested her organs on the black market, and sold them to fund the Starry. And once she realized how profitable human trafficking was, she turned the Starry into a front for a human trafficking scheme. Seika's close relationship with Kikakyori, I don't know how to say her name, but the alcoholic one, makes me believe that she's in on it too. And the reason why she's an alcoholic is due to the emotional stress induced upon her unethical decisions weighing up on her moral conscience. I don't really feel like I need to conclude this video that much, because it's like sort of schizo ramble, but still thanks for watching. And as much as I love Bocchi the Rock, I haven't watched it in like a year or something, so I could have got some details wrong, but it's all for the